It's been a whole year. Don't get at me. Don't be mad at me. But hey guys, it's Yolanda and welcome back to my channel. Well, it hasn't been a whole year. Close to a year. But anyways, a lot of stuff has been happening. And today we're going to talk about the most recent one that happened. And we're basically going to give you guys a full story, full details, more details, update you guys on what's been going on what's been happening. If you have me on social media, then you already know. But these are for the people who don't know the whole story or don't know what happened. This is for y'all. But anyways, you guys, I'm going to try to come back as soon as I can. Your girl just hasn't had the energy nor the time to post, but you know, it's okay. I'm outside my grandma's house. Me and my uncle are about to do this video. He actually requested it to actually do it so you guys can actually know that miracles do exist and they do happen. It's rare when it happens to you, but they do happen, you guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever. I will be updating you guys on this whole situation and more updates to come. Yeah, it's been a journey and it's gonna be a long journey, but you know, hey, it happens. Life happens. But just as long as you have family, God, and all that, you're good. So let me get in here real quick, set up, and we'll be back.
So February 1st, 2023, I got a phone call from my sister Maria. She called me stating that my father had gotten into a car accident, pretty bad one, and was in Lufkin, Texas, in the emergency room. We didn't know his status at the time. You know, to be honest, they called my mother. I'm not gonna say who, but Maria knows who, but they called my mother and they stated that my father was dead. And at that time, my mother was by herself here at her house. So right off the bat, my first instinct was to get home. I got here and everybody was here already, my siblings, my family. And later on, after we got more details about what happened exactly, we come to find out hurt from his neck due to the accident, which caused him to be paralyzed from the neck down. And that's what we found out, basically. So fast forward, he got transferred to Memorial Hermann, right there on 6411 Fannin Street, where he was in the 6th floor at what was it called, the floor?
Shock trauma.
Shock trauma.
ICU.
ICU. There he went under a surgery of his neck, and later on we come to find out that yes, he is paralyzed from the neck down, but shockingly, surprisingly, I remember I was in the room with my oldest sister, Teresa, and I remember the PT that came in and was talking to him, and she asked him, you know, can you feel anything? Can you move anything? And my father sadly said no. And it shocked me, and it kind of gave me a little bit of faith and belief that my father's going to recover fully, hopefully, by the grace of God. Because, you know, the PT told him, hey, can you move anything? Can you shrug your shoulders? And shockingly, it surprised me, and it kind of teared me up, and also it made my sister cry. But my father was able to at least shrug. So we got news that he doesn't feel anything from his shoulders down. So right now, you know, it's hard. It's hard for my father because this is a man that woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, made his coffee, and was just ready to get his day started. You know, this man cannot sit down. You know, he's old school. He's a dying breed, like I say, because this man is a hard worker. He puts his family first, and he'll do anything to save this house. I remember my father told me about this home is that, you know, when they were looking for houses, him and my mother, that he first took a look at his backyard, and then right away he envisioned his family, his kids, and his grandkids, and that's what made him fall in love with this house. You know, my mother, she wanted the house down the street, but my father was like, nope. You know, he looked one good look at the backyard, and he fell in love with this house. And this whole time, you know, he's been a hard worker, and he always kept everything up to date. His bills, you know, maintenance has been a little bit hard, but we try, and he tries. I know he does, but you know, that's one thing I know about my father, is that he's a hard worker and he doesn't give up. So having this happen to him, it hurts us a lot. You know, all of us. You know, my niece, my oldest niece, all my nieces, my siblings. You know, this is like what I like to call my dad. He's Superman to me. You know, I thought my dad was indestructible. I thought my dad could face anything. You know, with my dad, I never felt fear. I never felt any type of helplessness. Yeah.
Perfect word for it.
Yeah, because my dad, you know, everybody can look at my dad and be like, you know what, I know my dad got it. You know, if I don't got it, I know my dad got it under control, and that's how I viewed my dad. So seeing him like this and being next to him in this type of state, it kills me inside. But you know, in the beginning, when we got all the news, everybody broke down and everybody, you know, had their time to cry. But me and my siblings and my nieces, well, my oldest nieces, we knew that, hey, for me in my head, I would put, what would my dad do? What would my dad say? How would my dad act? You know, and I put that in my head, and it's there permanently. So I did my crying, I did my, you know, everything that I had to do. But now this is for my dad. This is so that way my dad can keep his home, and so that way my dad can know that, hey, the bills are taken care of, the home is taken care of. You know, don't worry. Just all he has to do is just focus on getting better. It's hard because you know, being with him and seeing him in the hospital, you know, he's helpless right now. He's, you know, like I said, this is a man that's constantly on the move, constantly. Even if he's here on his off days, he's working in his backyard. He's reorganizing things. He's working on the house. He's, you know, trying to do things to keep him moving. And when he's working, he works, you know. So seeing my dad like this in this state, like I said, it kills me. And I know for me, myself, I know I have to step up. And, you know, taking care of my dad right now in this state, you know, it's very hard to do because, you know, it's my dad. And, you know, I saw him different, but I still see him the same. I still see him as Superman. And I know he's gonna get it. I know he's gonna, you know what I'm saying, he's gonna try his hardest. He's gonna try his hardest. But I know it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tough because this is something that he's never experienced. All I can do is just ask for people to, the most is just to pray for him, just to keep him in your prayers. You know, I'm not the type of person, we're not the type of family to be like, hey, can you give me this? Hey, can you give me that? No. You know, this is just something that our backs are against the wall. Like I said, my dad took control of everything. My dad always had everything under control. So it's like losing that. It's like, okay, you know, how do we step up? Basically, how do we match that type of thing? So that's why we're trying to do as many benefits as we can. I know this is the first one this Sunday. I don't know when this video is gonna be posted, but I know this Sunday this is gonna, which is February 19th, is gonna be the benefit for my father right there in Canino, Airline in Canino, at my niece's baseball field, where we're gonna be selling plates and trying to raise money, you know, for my father. Everything that we're getting is straight to my mother, who is right now under, you know, authority, basically, has authority right now. So everything's gonna go straight to her. So, you know, the whole benefits, we're gonna try to do as many as we can, so that way my father can know that, hey, you know,
he has support.
He has support, yeah. And this is the type of man that my father is. He told us, he was like, everybody that donated, everybody that helps, everybody that gives, write their name down. And me, I was like, why? You know, that's a lot of names.
That is a lot of names.
But we know why he's doing that. Is because he knows when he gets better, he's gonna try to pay y'all back. I'm just saying, or he's gonna try to let y'all know that, hey, you help me no matter what. I'm gonna help you. I'm in your debt. I help you no matter what. Cause that's the type of father that my dad is. And his status, you know, it's really good. You know, his organs are fine. He's breathing great. His blood pressure is great. Sugar levels are good. You know, everything is good. You know, inside and out. You know, it's just right now. It's just his capability of moving, and that's what we are trying to improve on, you know. And it's gonna be a long time before he's able to do anything, but you know, with the right support. He has great support, me and my siblings and the rest of my family, his family, my mother's family. You know, I know everybody's right there, you know, encouraging him, giving him words of wisdom and telling him, hey, push, and my kids, you know, I give them great, you know, mental strength, because that's what he does it for. He doesn't do it for anybody else but his grandkids. Because other than him being a great father, he's a great grandfather of 11 grandkids. Well, 13 to be exact. But other than physical capabilities, you know, everything else is good. Gracias a Dios. And it's just, of course, it's mentally frustrating. You know, it's like I tell these guys, it's like, just imagine, you know, me and my girl at the time we're talking, and it's like, just imagine we take the most littlest things, we take it for granted. You know, grabbing a drink or grabbing the control, or, you know, grabbing a pencil or something, you know, we take it for granted because, you know, at that time you don't think, you just do it, you know. But when you take that away, it's like, it's hard, you know. It's you can't imagine it, because it's like my father says, he feels like his hands are in the middle, but in reality he sees that his hands and arms are right here. And then to me, I still can't comprehend that. I can't imagine what my father feels inside. But man, you see him, you go visit him, and he's cracking jokes still. He's smiling. He's
flirting with the nurses. He's, you know, Mr. Charm, you know, and he's like como nada. But man, that's how strong my father is. Cause me, I'm like, man, if I was in that position, I'll be helpless. I'll be, you know, frustrated and crying and just helpless, you know, hopeless, you know. But no, man, my father, he's something else. And I know that's why I know that he's gonna beat this. I know he's gonna prove all the doctors wrong. And that's another thing. The doctors aren't saying he's permanently paralyzed or anything like that. They're just saying that, you know, we gotta see where he's at. We gotta see where he goes, because to him it's just his mental and his body, you know. But he has done some tests, shock therapy, I think that is what it's called. I'm not sure. But they put like bandages on his arm, on his muscles to see, you know, his reflexes, I'm guessing. But they did that. Yeah, they did that, and his arms moves, his wrist moves, his feet move. So it looks like he's responding well. His body, it's a good sign. It's a great sign. So that's why we have a lot of faith and we have a lot of hope that he's gonna push it through. You know, it's just that it's really hard. Right now, when he was at Memorial Hermann, he undergo surgery, so he had to stay there for a little bit. But after he got a lot better and he passed a lot of tests, they transferred him to where he's at now, which is called Tier Memorial Hermann, I believe it's called. I'm not sure. But it's right next door to Memorial Hermann. Is basically where they do there. They specialize in spinal injuries. So right now they're just doing a lot of PT and a lot of OT and a lot of speech as well. So they're taking really good care of him.
I've been there, and man, the nurses, they're fantastic. The doctors are fantastic. All the people there working there are just fantastic. Very great people. And my father loves it there too as well. It's just right now it's really hard for him because, like I said, this is something new to everybody. So just if you're watching this, whoever watches this, just please, try to come out. We live in Houston, Texas. I don't know how far this video is gonna go, but we live here in Houston, Texas, and we're gonna try to do the benefits and just keep everybody posted on everything on Yolanda's social media and myself and everything like that. We're gonna try to keep everybody posted on the benefits that we're gonna do. Probably try to do some more things. If anybody has any ideas, hey, we're open on how to raise money for my father. As like I told him, I don't care if I'm out there with the sign and asking these cars, hey, can you give at least 2 pennies or something, at least something, what I'm saying. But like my father said, we plan on helping everybody that donates. We plan on try to paying y'all back. This happening, it taught me a lot of things, and it just don't take anything for granted. Don't take anything for granted, because I was on my way to church with my girl and my kids, and within a second I get a phone call. My life has completely went upside down. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying I love my father and I'm always going to be there for my father and I'm going to help him no matter what. I'm going to help him through this. But to everybody that's watching, just don't take anything for granted, because a phone call, a message, or in a second, your life can change. Hug your loved ones. Hug your parents, especially your parents if you do have them. If you do have the blessing to still have them. If you don't, then may God rest their souls. And whoever, just hug your loved ones and just tell them you love them. And and it's like they tell me, prepare for the worst but hope for the best. And I'm not saying prepare for anything type like this, but just know that in a second your life can change. So just be grateful for today, and make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them, because you may never know. Because
he wasn't the type of man to tell us he loved us.
No,
and now he does. I'm trying to walk out the room. He's like, Yoli, and I'm like, what? He's like, I love you, and I was like, okay, I love you too, Dad. And I just walk out the door.
Yeah, and for me, that's what broke my heart too. It's because me and my father we're not really emotional, father and son, affectionate father and son. So at that brief moment when my sister informed me what happened, in that brief moment I thought,
we were talking about hug your loved ones.
Yeah.
He wasn't affectionate. Now he tells us I love you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where it stopped off, so
I'll figure it out.
But yeah, like I was saying, my father, he wasn't very an affectionate person, and that's the type of relationship me and my father had. And so my biggest regret was not at least telling my father I love him before anything happened. And when I got that phone call from my sister, that was kind of like the first thing that popped in my head, is that I can't even remember the last time I told my dad I love him. And so now, right after I leave the room, after I leave his room from the hospital, or from Tier where he's at, I tell him, hey Dad, I'll be right back. I'll see you tomorrow. I love you. And he tells me, I love you too, son. So, it's good seeing that, and I'm not gonna ever take it for granted again, because I felt like it was just like kind of like a pride thing, like a man type of thing, like stop being low, But nah, man, like with your parents, I don't think it should be like that, especially with your fathers, regardless of what has happened in your life. You don't know when it's their last day or when it's your last day. You don't know when, anything happens. Just don't take it for granted. And that's what I don't do anymore. So, I'm glad he's doing a lot better, because, I don't know where anybody would be at if, if we would have lost him. If he would have
Heck no, man.
If he would have died in that car accident, I can't even comprehend how our lives would be right now, or especially my mother's.
Yes, her soulmate.
Her soulmate, because they've been together for over 30 years, and it took a big toll on my mother. And with her, this basically just added on top of her life, because right now my mother, 3 months ago, she got diagnosed with gout on both her feet. And if you know anybody with gout, or if you're going through gout, you know that shit is painful. You know, even if it's just on one pinky toe or one toe, you know, it's painful. My mom got some on both her feet, and now her back, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but she also has back problems as well. So, you know, her in that state, you know, it's really, really hard for her. And that's why I'm trying to be there as much as I can for my mother and my father. You know, and that's why I try to encourage my mother to still go to her doctor's appointments and take care of herself.
Even though she didn't go.
Even though she never goes, or she always reschedules because of something. You know, but I know she just, at the end of the day, just wants to be there with my father. And if, you know, I know Yoli knows that when my mother leaves, he constantly keeps asking about her. And I remember when she first had to leave him because she was exhausted, just tired. And she had to get some sleep, or if she wasn't gonna, you know, last. So she left, and I remember when my mother came back, my father told her, you know, what took you so long? You know, that he felt like that she was never gonna come back. But at that time, my father was under anesthesia and a lot of painkillers.
All that.
But you know, but that just shows what type of relationship my father and my mother has, and they love each other very much.
It's a love and hate relationship.
It's a love and hate relationship,
but it's funny.
But it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and this is not just to help my father, it's also to help my mother. It's mainly to help my father, of course, because of everything he's going through, but it's also to help my mother, because if anybody knows, you know, Yoli or myself, anybody that knows me or comes over and knows my parents, you know, and knows my mother, you know, it's very difficult at this time for my mother, because as you see her walk, she's wobbling. She's not even walking straight. And, you know, and she holds her head up high. And she tries to be prideful and try to sucks it up. But, you know, me and Yoli know that it's really taking a toll on her, so.
We tell her not to hold it in, but she does it anyway.
Yeah.
Can't really tell her nothing.
Yeah. Come and support, come to the benefits, order some plates, please, or whatever we're gonna do later on.
Yep.
Yeah, please just help us. Just, you know, like I said, we're not the type of people to ask for handouts at all, you know. Anybody, any one of us, you know, so trust me, we're gonna do what my father says and write our names down, and in any type of way, you know, we're in debt with y'all, and if y'all need our help, you know, later on or in any time, trust me, we'll be there, because this is not for myself, this is not for Yoli, this is not for anyone in my family, this is for my father. And trust me, my father probably knew that we were doing this. He'll probably get mad, but like I said, we have our backs against the wall right now, and you know, it's a lot. So
he knows about the benefit.
He knows about the benefit. He supports it.
Yes, he supports it. He's ready to see how many people it's gonna be, how much we raise and stuff like that. So we just gotta wait and see until that day.
Oh, that's another thing. We're also gonna try to put the pictures of his truck up. It's gonna be hard because I know it's gonna be difficult to see, but it's just gonna put you on a realization of how lucky my father is to be here, and that my father has a purpose here. My father, you know, God was like, you know what, Death, you can't take this man right now. You're not gonna take him.
And he wasn't even supposed to be driving that truck. He didn't want to.
Yeah, and that's another thing.
Yeah. He didn't want to.
Because he also drives a Honda Civic, a 2010 Honda Civic. And if y'all know, if y'all car people, or y'all can look it up, Google it, but that's a little car with no type of protection. and he crashed into an 18-wheeler with his truck. So in our heads, he's like, just imagine, and you're gonna see the damage of the truck, but just imagine if it was that little car. My father, we wouldn't be doing this video, we wouldn't be planning anything. We'll be planning a funeral, you know. So my dad, so everything kind of protected him, because I guess God was, you know, God knows everything, God has everything written down, but I guess God was protecting him as well, because my dad was not supposed to drive his truck, which was brand new, by the way. It was barely 3 weeks old. He got it. I remember the day he got it, he was so happy. He was just smiles and just grateful and
he was
thankful.
he was just gonna look for trucks. He was just gonna look. He wasn't gonna buy.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to buy. But my mother and father, they were both, I remember that day, they were both uppity, and what my mom was going through, it brought her down a lot. She always wanted to sit down. She never wanted to really walk or anything. She got tired easily. But that day, for some reason, when he got the truck, man, they were both uppity. They were both,
he had so much energy.
They were just so happy. Like, to me, you know, like I told my girl, to me, I just felt like, man, my parents finally got a win, you know. My parents finally got blessed, you know. They kind of feel that, hey, we got happiness for a little bit. But who would have thought that 3 weeks later, you know, my father would be where he's at right now. But I'm thankful he was driving that truck, because, you know, I still have my father. But when y'all see the pictures, y'all gonna realize that my father was blessed. You know, my father was protected by an angel, and we're really grateful that he's still here. And that's and when y'all see the pictures of the truck, you're gonna see how it is, and just know that at that day too, because my dad, he's a hotshot driver, so he delivers to oil rigs here and there.
He has stuff in the back.
That day, my mother was actually supposed to go with him that day. My mother was supposed to be with him. But something happened where my mother just stayed home and my father went. And after y'all see those pictures, y'all gonna be like, man, if my mother was in that truck, my mother would not be here right now.
Yeah.
So I know everything that's going on sucks, and it hurts and it's painful, but I'm grateful. And I thank God, because I still have my father and I still have my mother. And yes, I don't have my father 100%, but I still have him. And I'm able to tell him I love him. And he's blessed to still be able to talk, to still be able to eat, you know, and not have a feeding tube. Because that was one of our biggest fears in the beginning, was that he wasn't going to be able to talk. He wasn't going to be able to eat, because if y'all know anybody that's paralyzed from the neck down, y'all know it's kind of how it goes. So, and I'm kind of grateful that this happened in this type of way, you know, because I still have him. Just come and support, please, and just help as much as y'all can, even if it's 50 cents, you know what I'm saying, or $1, you know what I'm saying. Y'all go to McDonald's and
oh, you should know.
all those fast food places and spend like $20, you know, just, hey man, use those $20 to help out my dad, please, you know, please, because, you know, everything's gonna go straight to my mother, and I know my mother's gonna put it, you know, into this house, and I don't know if, you know, if it's okay, you know, probably Yoli, you know, I don't know, we gotta talk, of course, because everything has to go through everybody, because we don't want to go behind anybody's back with this.
No.
But if you see my father's house, it's not, like I said, it happens like this. It's unexpected. And as you know, if anybody has a person in a wheelchair, you know, houses are not really wheelchair accessible. So we have to basically remodel this house, you know, stretch out the doors, redo his restroom, put ramps on the doorways in the garage. And since my father was a backyard person, always in the backyard watering the plants and stuff like that, you know, we kind of wanted to extend the patio and do some, you know, put cement on, you know, not all in the backyard, because he has a big backyard, but probably from the length of the house, you know, in a couple hours, so that way my dad can be back and forth in his chair at the time and able to still, you know, feel kind of have a sense of normality, you know. But everything's gonna go to that, and especially to his bills, you know, his medical bills, because we're not yet ready to see, you know, how much. Because as you know,
only insurance covers so much.
Insurance covers so much. He's insured with my mother because my mother works at Walmart, and she has him in her insurance. So, you know, and I know, you know, it covers only so little. So, you know, I know we're gonna need the help. And like I said, we're not this type of family that likes to beg and ask, but we have to. Sometimes you have to swallow your pride and just to work what you got, and that's exactly what we're doing. But I don't know if my dad's gonna see this. I don't know. But
let's hope not, because then he's gonna kick our ass.
But if he does see this, just know, if you do see this, Dad, just know that we got you. Don't worry about nothing. I'll take care of my mom. And you know I got your back. You know I'm gonna take care of you too. And just know that we got this.